Hello everybody, hope you all are doing good out there. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a multi-tool that I just picked up not too long ago at a pawn shop. Now I've been using this, carrying this, testing this one out. Got a good deal with it. I did a bundle with some other knives. If you'll remember, in the other video I did on that German eye knife, I picked that up for a friend of mine. And I bundled that one with this red case right here. And I bundled those two, but I also put this in the bundle. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. This is the Leatherman Wave. Now, Leatherman makes a lot of different models, and a lot of their models are pretty expensive. Now, they have a 25-year warranty, and they're built good, but they are expensive. This one is called the Wave Plus now, and they've upgraded it a little bit. I'll mention what the upgrade is in a minute, but this one runs $119 right now on Amazon. Well, I found this one down at the pawn shop. He'd gotten a whole group of Leathermans in, and so I looked at this one, and when I saw it, I thought that's pretty nice. And of course, I knew what the Wave was. I hadn't bought one because of the price, but I was able to get a good deal on it, so I got this one. It's kind of hard to figure up exactly what I got each one for since I got it in a bundle, but I got it somewhere around $40, $40 to $43, somewhere in there after tax. So either way, let's go over this. This is a really good put together tool, and it's an excellent multi-tool. So let's take a look at it here. This one right here is going to be 4 inches when it's closed. Let's go ahead and establish that. It's about 4 inches when it's closed. That's the first thing we got to notice. When it comes to weight, this is a pretty heavy multi-tool. But you want your multi-tool to be sturdy. You don't want it flimsy. 8.60 ounces. So it's a pretty heavy multi-tool. Just to put that into perspective, a yellow case Delrin peanut is 1.20 ounces. But of course, this isn't anything like the tool that we're going to be taking a look at. They are fulfilling different roles. They're different kinds of tools. And you need different tools for different tasks. That's why they make different tools for different tasks. Okay, now let's dig into this tool itself. This one is the Leatherman Wave. The modern version, as we said, is called the Wave Plus. And the big difference between the two is if you look here, you got your wire cutters here. On the Wave Plus, that is a replaceable piece. It's got a screw holding it on so you can replace it. As far as I'm aware, that's the only difference. I'm sure that it's the only really big difference. But that is kind of interesting to note. Nevertheless, the wires, on these pliers, that's the main tool on the Leatherman Wave. At the end, you got your needle noses. And then you got more of your regular plier style. And then you've got your wire cutters down here at the bottom. This is just tight as it can be. Feels great. The action's great. But before we do that, let's look at the outside tools. Now, not all multi-tools have tools that open from the outside. The Leatherman I've had longer than any of the rest is this little micro. I'll do a video on this someday. But you can see all the tools open from the inside. There are no tools to pull out on the outside. Once you open it up, you can pull your tools out. Well, this Wave is interesting because it has both tools on the inside and the outside. And you can see right here that you've got a knife blade, and all you got to do is just hook your thumb on it and push it out like that, and you got your primary blade. It's a good-looking blade, too. 420 HC, I believe. I've got this one good and sharp. It's good thickness. It's a good heavy-duty, heavy user blade. If I was going to classify it, I think that's how I would do it. Lengthwise, let's get the length on this blade. This blade is 2 7/8 inches of cutting edge. So you're getting a good, useful blade there. Excuse me. You'll also notice it has a liner lock. So that liner lock locks this blade good and open, so it won't close on you. And then you just push the liner lock in and close the blade. It's also got a detent that it snaps into, So it works just about like a half stop right in that position. It's easy to open one-handed, easy to close one-handed. It's an excellent design. And on the other side, flip it over, you've got basically the same blade, except this one is serrated. And let me tell you, depending on what you need to cut, that is some good serrations on there. That will just slice right through a rough material. I cut some briars with it, and it just popped right through them. Again, you got your same liner lock right there. Again, easy to open, easy to close, one-handed. Now that, to me, takes this multi-tool to a new level, because somebody who don't use a knife a lot could get by carrying one of these as their main knife, since it's so quick and so easy to access. But when these open up, you're going to see they're on opposite sides of each other, so you'll just have to flip the handle over to access which one you want. Now, a cool little trick on this is so you can tell which one's what without opening it. If you look on the back of the knife blade, it's smooth all the way to the pivot. If you look on the serrated blade, they've got some jimping right here going into the pivot, and so that lets you know by feel which blade you're opening. There are two other tools that can be accessed from the outside. The first one you access from right here in this little hole in the end, and it's a file. You got two different textures. And I'll tell you, you can also got on here where you can do some cutting if you need to. But I love having a file with me. You never know what you might need a file for. So it's excellent to have a file, and this is a good file. Also, got the same liner lock that the blades had. Just push it in, then you can close your blade. Then the last tool on the outside is on the side of the serrated blade. And this is a good wood saw. And it's a good wood saw. It feels, to me, the way they got the blade cut, feels about identical to Victorinox's saws, like the Huntsman has or the Camper. Again, liner lock, push it in, it'll close. Just excellent, though, just excellent. So those are the tools on the outside. Great design. So now, if we open it up, we will have a few more tools on the inside. We'll start on this side over here. We have a can opener and a wire stripper. This can come in useful for lots of things, that tip can. And then, of course, the wire stripper. Whether you're opening a bottle, opening a can, or using it for something else, that's excellent. And you'll notice that it locks into position. There is a lock here on the back, if you can see this. It snaps into a little slot on the back here, so you push this down, and it will allow you to release the tool, but it locks it into place there. Also, you got one other tool on this side, and that is this Phillips. This is a bit driver, basically. And it's a really good bit. Now, I used it to put together a raised bed with my dad. Had to put in a lot of screws. I had this with me, and I just used it. It did just excellent. You can see it's not exactly a 3D Phillips. It's somewhere in the middle, but it works excellent. And then if you want a flathead, you can just pull it out, and you got your flathead bit. Then you can just flip it over and push it back in there. Now you got a flathead. Excellent design. Plus you can replace it if you mess with it or break it. So that's pretty neat. Also, this locks into place, as you can see, and it just locks right in there. It's a great design there. And to release it, just push this and close it up. So that's everything on that side. On our other side here, we have a few tools. Excuse me. First one we have is this big flat blade or a pry bar. I mean, it could be useful. I've used it for some big flatheads. But yeah, it also worked for a pry bar. So that's a very useful tool to have on there. The next one we got in here is, to me, probably not as useful. I probably won't use this one a whole lot. But it's a little micro screwdriver. This is what you can use to tighten your glasses. You know, I wear glasses, so it can come in very useful sometimes. Get you out of a pinch. But it's Phillips. As you can see, it's tiny. And you can pull it out. And just like the other bit driver, you've got a flathead on the end. So that's really nice to have both with you like that. That really just makes the tool have a lot more going for the same size. When you can do bits like that, where you're getting a Phillips and a flathead in the same accessory. Then the last tool in this side is these scissors. They just flip right out, and they got the little lever there to work them. I haven't used them a ton, but I got no complaints with them. I mean, they'll do what you need to do if you need to cut a thread. I mean, what are we really using scissors for? If I have a knife blade, I'm not going to be using scissors for a whole lot. Maybe to cut a thread I don't want to unravel or something like that. But they do good for what they're intended for. Let's compare them, though, to the Victorinox scissors. Of course, the Victorinox scissors are the top of the class. You can't get better than Victorinox scissors. And they're just a speck smaller, as you can see. But they're still great. Now, so put into perspective here. Why would somebody want to carry a Leatherman like this? Also, I will point out that there is a roller that goes along the bottom of the knife here when you got it open like this. So that's kind of interesting. Why would somebody carry this over a Swiss Army knife? Well, you know, I love a Swiss Army knife. The Super Tinker is my favorite. It's built great. It works great. It's an excellent knife. But it's more of a light duty thing. This screwdriver is good, and I've used it a lot. But it's not going to do as much or put up with as much abuse in the long term as this one is. The Leatherman is more made to work. You know, in my opinion, this Swiss Army knife is more comfortable to carry by a ton. You put this in your pocket, you've got a tool when you need it. You carry this one when you think you're going to need it, or when you're probably going to need it. At least that's the way that I would understand it. We can see the same thing with the Phillips screwdriver there. When you compare that Phillips to the bit Phillips that we have in the Wave, it's just, they're both good, but this Phillips in the Wave is going to be a harder worker for you. You know, these Victorinoxes are built extremely well, and I really like them. But you got to be careful with the handle here, because if you apply too much torque, you know, tightening a Phillips like this, you could mess the frame up. I'm not worried about that in the least with this Leatherman, and if this twists, get another bit. Now, I will say that the wonderful Explorer, that Victorinox model, it has a great screwdriver on it. I'll do videos on all these Victorinoxes someday. At least I plan on it. But you can see, like, this Phillips, great Phillips. But even with that, to me, it's still not to the same toughness as this Leatherman. And so the Swiss Army knife is a ton easier to carry. You got it with you when you need it. But the Leatherman, is, in my opinion, is something you take out when you assume you probably will need it. And the other reason somebody might carry this Leatherman over the Swiss Army knife would be if they want one-hand accessible knife blade. You know, that's a big thing to some people. And you get that with the Leatherman. You don't get that with a Swiss Army knife like this. Now, they do make some Swiss Army knives that are one-hand accessible, but not these kind of models. The other thing is, why you might carry one of these is you may want the locking tool, or you may be after the pliers. You know, you may use pliers quite regularly. Now, a normal Swiss Army knife, like this Deluxe Super Tinker, you can get some of them that have pliers. And this is what the pliers look like. They're really cool, but they are in no way, shape, fashion, or form the same as these pliers on this Leatherman. They're not the same thing. This is made for a super light task. This one right here is made to work. And in my opinion, that's the difference. These two are not competitors. These two complement each other. And I'll argue that a little pocket knife like this little yellow case peanut complements these two knives. You know, these three really complement each other well. And you could even throw a buck 110 in there. throw a buck 110 in there or something like that, and you've got a really good, put together, well-rounded set of working knives. They're each doing something different, and they each have their purpose. Now, as for this Leatherman Wave, if you can find one for a good price, or even if you can't, save up your money for a while, get one of these. You won't regret it. They're really good. If you don't want to carry it on you, put it in your car. But if you got this on you, you don't even really have to carry a knife with you. You got that excellent knife blade right there, whether you've got the serrated one or whether you've got your regular one. You've got your pliers, and you got your Phillips and your flathead and your scissors. I mean, think of all you're getting with this. You can take care of any kind of flathead screw, any kind of Phillips screw. You got scissors. You got a saw blade. You got a file, which I love. You got a pair of pliers. You got a pair of wire cutters. You got a knife blade. Everything locks into place. It's just excellent. You cannot go wrong with it. So yeah, comment down below what's your experience with the Leatherman Wave. There are other Leathermans, like we said in the beginning, that you have to access the tools from the inside. We will do a video on them here soon, because they both have their benefits and downsides. There are some downsides to the Wave being having its tools accessed from the outside. In the same way, there are some huge benefits to it. So we'll deal with the original Leatherman tool soon. But y'all comment down below, how do you feel about these Leatherman Waves? And if you have any cool stories of when one got you out of a pinch, please comment that down below. We would like to know it. Oh, one thing I do need to include before I forget it is there is a lanyard on this particular knife. If you open up the saw blade, there, you see that little circle down in there? That is a lanyard. You can push that out, and when you do, it'll bring it out here so you can hook something to it. But that's a tool that when I first got this, it was sticking out a little bit, and I didn't realize what it was, and I didn't figure it should be sticking out, so I took a 4-pound rubber mallet and tapped it back in. And then I got to thinking about it and realized what it was and pushed it back out. So if you use a lanyard, you got one, you just got to slide that out of there. But yeah, y'all have a good day, and keep your knives sharp and your multi-tools.